And testing 2 1 2. This is Nico Pingan, and welcome back to A Gamer's Guide to Productivity. Today's guest is an absolute force in the world of business and personal development. As the co founder of Nuspira Inc. and a best selling author, Kat Sterling has built a wealth and ways to reach new heights while continuing to motivate and inspire those around her. So in this episode, we're going to dive into her journey, explore how she overcame self-doubt, and discover what it really takes to turn your goals into reality. And so guys, if you enjoyed this, share it with somebody, like, comment, and subscribe, as we're going to dive into health, wellness, and gaming all in one. So thank you so much, Kat, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And for those that may not know, what would be what you would say your exposure to gaming, so to say?
so, so when I was a kid, I played Nintendo. I've never had a Sega. I've never had a Super Nintendo, PS5, none of that. I was a Nintendo girl. I'm old. I'm dating myself, right? I'm so dating myself. So I was the master of Super Mario Brothers
Oh, I love
and
that.
Zelda.
And
I
Zelda?
also had an Atari. So don't fault me for that. I know. But you know what? I found gaming is super addictive. I had to get off of it, like seriously, because I would be downstairs playing from like 10 in the morning to like 10 at night, not using the bathroom, not eating, and so I had to stop because I see how it's addictive. It's so addictive, but it's awesome.
Oh no, that's certainly understandable. For those that may not know, you could be a gamer as a child, or you could be a gamer hitting 90. You're still considered a gamer, and we're trying to literally focus on what enables us to be productive. And so, since you do have this company, Nuspiria, for those that have no idea what this is and what you guys do there, just give us the brief, detailed breakdown.
So Nuspira is a health and wellness company. So we sell mushroom coffees. I don't know if you've heard of some of the other mushroom coffees out there.
Mm.
So we sell mushroom coffees, we sell a liquid vitamin, and we also sell a detox drink mix. And so it's just for people who care about their health, who wants a healthier alternative to what they're doing now. So it's for all ages. It's not just for the old people like me. It's for all ages, because even when you're young, you need to take care of your health. Because when you get my age, you're going to be like, oh my goodness, I should have did this at 30 or 20 versus waiting till I'm 40 to do these things to take care of myself. So you need to start young. You definitely need to start young.
Yeah, I've heard of those mushroom coffees and whatnot. Now, for those that are thinking like, well, I already have like Monster or Red Bull, it gives me the same kind of like energy boost. Like, what? Why would I use this natural and healthy version?
No, don't use those. They have so much sugar and so much caffeine in them. Like, do not use those. You should totally okay, so mushroom coffees like ours has 6 adaptogenic mushrooms. And so things like turkey tail, reishi, cordyceps, shiitake, those are all going to give you natural boosts. So you're going to get energy, you're going to get gut health, you're going to get increased focus. There's so many studies that this stuff improves. Like, I can't make health claims, of course, but improves like ADHD, your gut flora, all of those things. And so it's a natural alternative to some of the other stuff. Have you seen what's in Monster? Have you seen what's in Monster? Just turn around and read the label. Please read the
Oh,
label. It's not, I'm telling you, when you put stuff like that in your body and you get my age, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I know exactly why I have these health issues because I didn't take care of myself when I was younger. So please start young. If your audience is young, they need to start young, taking care of themselves. You think you're invincible at that age. I did too. I get it. But I mean, I'm telling you, you're going to get 40, 50, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I should have did this and I should have did that. So start early.
and what would you say for those, like for example, gamers that they're sitting down, they'll need that energy boost. They'll look at maybe getting quick niblets of food, not preparing meals. What would you say would be some recommendations if they were interested in leading a healthier life? What would be some things other than replacing the Red Bull or Monster with a healthier alternative?
Well, if you like coffee, like I said, the mushroom coffees are amazing. You need to get yourself a really good vitamin. And we have a liquid vitamin, not pushing, not a, it's a humble brag, but we have a really good liquid vitamin. So you need to get yourself a multivitamin because you're going to lose and you're going to You need to replace things from your diet that you're not getting because you're not. If you're gaming, you're probably eating on the fly, right? You're not eating
Right.
salads. You're not eating fruits and vegetables. You're not eating any of that stuff. You're probably eating Takis and chips. And so you need to have a really good liquid vitamin that's going to replenish all of that stuff that you're missing while you're sitting there gaming all day.
Hmm.
Just a thought, I'm telling you.
And then, in regards to your personal growth, how did you go into creating a company or assisting in founding a company that does provide actual healthy alternatives to what we currently have available?
So I'm a healthcare junkie. So I have a background in healthcare. I have a master's degree in public health, a bachelor's degree in biology and chemistry. And so I've always been a healthcare person. I've always been around it. I was running large departments in large companies for, healthcare. And so
Hmm.
I did that all my life. And then I decided to leave corporate America. And once I did, my husband and I sat down and we were like, what do we want to do? My husband's always been an entrepreneur. I haven't. So it was a scary world for me, trust me, because I'm used to having a paycheck like most people.
Right.
And so when I jumped into it, I was like, oh my God, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And so, we saw these companies shooting to multi-million dollars off of coffee, off of healthy coffee, mushroom
Right.
coffee at that. And so we said, you know what? We can play in this space. We could totally do this space. And so that's what kind of prompted the journey. It's like, okay, people need an alternative in their life that's going to give them substance. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, where'd you go? I think you left.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
there you
still
are.
here.
And my phone rang. Sorry. People need healthy alternatives to
Hmm.
the lifestyle that they live. Like I said, the things that are in our food, they're not nutrient rich. I mean, if you
Right.
just go to the grocery store and look at what you're eating every day, it is not nutrient rich at all. And you need to have things that's going to fuel your body naturally. You need to have things that's going to fuel you with good nutrients. And so you can make it to my age. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you can make it to my age in a healthy state. And so that's why we decided to come up with our own because we didn't find that in the market. And the other thing is the mushroom coffee's out on the market. We didn't like the taste. And so we were like, okay, I want something like this, but I don't like drinking dirt every day. This kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't like drink. No knocking anybody else, but we just didn't like the taste, and so we decided to
Right.
come up with our own formula that tastes great, but still gives you the same benefits as those other companies. So that's why we decided to come into the space.
Oh, that's actually pretty interesting that you have this unique point of view into coming into the space and having essentially your back against the wall and
Hmm.
taking that leap of faith. And
Yeah.
in this case, how do you believe that the physical health is interconnected with mental health?
Yeah.
And how does Nuspira try to address that with what they provide?
Whew, that's a great question. Mental health and spiritual health. I mean, you are a spiritual being, so your mind, spirit, body connection is huge. And so, like I said, we believe in a community of well-being. So that's one thing that we try to promote in our social media groups is well-being, health and well-being. You got to take care of yourself. I found like especially being a working mom and then a business owner, you can get so burnt out and so stressed out because you're taking care of everybody else and you're not taking care of yourself. And we do that a lot. We as people do that a lot. And so we believe in, like I said, mind, spirit, body. I'm a spiritual person, so I meditate all the time. I
Hmm.
take care of myself. I do self care things. I have to stop and do self care things for myself because if I don't, I'll just go, go, go and I'll get burned out. And that's not healthy
Right.
for anybody. And then I take care of myself by eating, the right things and fueling the right nutrition. So, like I said, in our groups, a lot of times you'll find that I'll give recommendations on how to have healthier alternatives or how to stay healthy or how to stay healthy in your mind spirit life. I do stuff like that in our health and in our social media groups.
Oh, that's actually pretty intriguing that that's how you tap in and stay interconnected with others is by explaining those important metrics and that authenticity essentially in regards to how you view the well-being that it encompasses not just physical but also mental understanding
Yep.
as well.
Yep.
And what when you try to inspire others, how do you maintain your authenticity and how do you make sure that you don't just get drowned out with like all the new raves of ways of conversing with others?
Well, I always try to start with telling my story. Like, I
Mm,
am an open book. I try to be real and honest with people. You know, if you meet me in person, I'm like the most honest. I'm probably too honest at times. That's what my husband says. I'm probably too honest at times, but I believe, like I said, I believe in the spiritual connection, and so I think we are all put on this earth to tell our story. I think you go through things in life, and sometimes your story inspires somebody else that may, be going through the same thing that you have gone through. And
right,
so I believe in being as honest as I can. If I, to a point, some things you just don't want to put out there because people will use it against you sometimes. But
right.
for the most part, I'm pretty much an open book. And if I feel like it's going to benefit somebody, yes, absolutely, I'll tell that story. Absolutely.
Okay, now trying to understand your point of view here. So, in your experience, how important is it to shift your mindset in order to overcome procrastination and the fear of failure?
Oh, this is a now this has been a challenge of mine all my life. I'm not gonna lie. This has been a challenge. Shifting your mindset. And I also wrote a book about all of these things we're talking about. Shifting your mindset is so important. That's why you have to tell yourself, you have to do affirmations and really tell yourself, no, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. And you have to set goals and you have to set milestones for yourself because if you don't,
Hmm.
somebody or somebody, right, is going to talk you out of it. So I've
Mm.
all of my life, either my mom talked me out of it or, one of my friends said, you can't do that. That's impossible. Or, or you just get inside your head. I think we are our own worst enemy. We are. Like for so long, there's so many things that I probably could have done and I didn't do because I talked myself out of it. It wasn't anybody else. It was just I talked myself out of it. Or sometimes you ask the wrong person and they'll talk you out of it.
Mm.
So sometimes you just got to keep your mouth shut and just seek counsel that is that you trust. I guess you'd say that you trust because if you seek just your friend, that may not be going anywhere, like you have to really evaluate your counsel because if you don't, it's not going to be, you're not going to be successful. You have to really seek counsel that's going to be supportive of you, but keep it real. That you don't want somebody that's going to go out there and be like, yeah, you can do it. And they're like, that's stupid, but you really have to seek counsel that's really going to be supportive of you, but keep it real and keep you grounded in your goals and push you to achieve those goals. That's what I did. I've surrounded myself with people that really pushed me to be better and really pushed me to achieve my goals. Not people that say I can't do it or no, that's not going to work or that's stupid.
Now, how would you say that in those moments that you have a set plan, your counsel agreed with the ideas that you're trying to do, the journey,
Mhm.
etc., the goals that you have established, how do you build resilience when things don't go the planned way?
It happens all the time. I'm telling you, it happens all the time, especially in an entrepreneur life. Nothing ever goes right. Nothing ever goes your way. And I'm telling you, nothing ever goes your way. And so you just have to remember the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is I want to be a multi-million dollar company by the end of 2006 or whatever your goal, your big goal is. You have to keep that in mind because there will be obstacles, there will be things that will come up against you every single day that will make you want to quit.
Hmm.
And you'll just be like, I'll just go get a job because I just want to check. And I'm like, no, that's not my goal. My goal is to have financial freedom and I want to be a multi-million dollar company by, this date. So no, that's not my goal. And I've already come this far and I wouldn't have come this far if I didn't believe or it wasn't possible. So no, I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to quit. I
Mm.
just keep taking the steps further. Just keep going. Just put one foot in front of the other. Just keep walking. It's not going to be perfect. Just keep going.
What would you say is the biggest failure that you've experienced so far that's taught you a valuable lesson so much that you still carry it with you today?
Wow, the biggest failure. I would say I don't look at anything as a failure though, because I think I'm right where I'm supposed to be.
Or a
Um,
learning
I,
lesson?
gosh, that's a great one too. I would say maybe not getting into med school because I did apply for med school and I didn't get in. And the first time I didn't pass the MCAT, I gave up, and I was like, "Oh man, I should have never given up. Because what if I wouldn't have given up? I talked myself out of it. That's what we do. Maybe this isn't
Mhm.
meant to be. Maybe I need to change my career path." Which I had a fabulous career, but maybe if I would have stayed here, I could have been here. And so I talked myself out of it, and I regret not pursuing that because I know I could have done it. Hindsight is 2020. I know I could have done it, but I just at the time just didn't have the confidence in myself, and I didn't have a mentor that can really drive me and push me to that goal. That you got to have a mentor, because if you don't, tell you you're gonna you're gonna talk yourself out of it every single time. Unless you just have that mental fortitude, you're gonna talk yourself out of it every single time.
Now, for gamers that don't know how to find a mentor, where can they get access to a mentor? Because I've heard that a lot, and so for somebody that just has no idea, like who would you be looking at recommending that individuals that might be late teens, early 20s? Where can they find these individuals that could potentially be their actual mentors?
I would say peer groups, or social media. You can find good mentors on social media, not the bad ones. There are some bad ones, but social media has a plethora, and you'd be amazed at how many people are willing to help or willing to guide you through whatever you're going through. So, and it has to be somebody that's a little older, that's kind
Hmm.
of been through where you want to go through, what you want to go through. So I would say social media, or either your peer group, maybe your high school or what your college group, those kind of groups are great. Great, great, great.
Oh, okay, interesting. And then, what would you say, in your point of view currently now? How would you define success, and how do you feel that definition has evolved throughout the years?
So I define success in my book. And so success looks different for everybody. You have to define what success looks like for you. So for me, I want to be financially free. I want my business to be a multi-million dollar business by 2026. That's what success looks like to me. But to you, it could be, I want to be the ultimate gamer ever, and I want to win these national championships. Or to somebody else, it could be, I want to be a great spouse. I mean, it just depends on what your
Facts.
personal mission. Yeah, it just depends on what your personal mission is. And so, what I would tell everybody is you have to define what you are passionate about and what you want to accomplish in life before you leave this earth. What do you want to accomplish in life? And it could be, it changes what your purpose is or what your success looks like now. How old are you? 20? You're 20, right? You're in your 20s?
I'm hitting 30.
Oh, what? Okay, so what your success goals look like in your 20s is going to be totally different in your 30s, and it's going to be totally
Right.
different in your 40s. And when you get 50, it's going to be totally different, because you're going to go through seasons and transitions, and you're going to go through life, and you're going to reevaluate the things that you've learned. And so it's going to be different every single season. So it's always changing, but you have to define what success looks like for you. It's not a box. It's not a one size fits all thing, because my
Mm.
what defines my success, it doesn't look like yours. So
Mm.
what is your personal mission statement? Do you have a personal mission statement?
Well, that's actually really cool. And so you're essentially saying that that's one of the things that people misunderstand most about success, is that it is not a one size fits all.
It is
You
not.
can't copy and paste somebody else's definition of success, because what may make them feel like they've achieved success may be a torturous situation for you. Like, they might
Absolutely.
want to be in front of hundreds of millions of people, and you want to be inside of your own, like, remote
Absolutely.
location away from everyone else. Or, as you mentioned, somebody that wants to have uber amounts of money, and somebody else that just wants a plain old simple uh, quiet lifestyle. So that's
Absolutely.
actually really, really, like, intriguing, the way that we misunderstand. And sometimes I think we put ourselves in, or we project the idea that we have of success, and sometimes we were like, "Oh, you're not successful," because to
Uh-huh.
me, success is having this kind of a car, having this kind of a lifestyle, having
Yes.
these kind of travel accommodations, and I see you don't have that, thus you are not successful.
Exactly. Exactly. But you're
Mm,
successful now. Like, somebody might be looking at you and saying, you know what, you're successful because you have your own podcast right now. I mean, that's
right.
huge. Everybody can't do this, and everybody, you know how many people want to do this that can't do this or haven't been able to do it because of whatever reason. This is success for you. This is a milestone. You should be celebrating yourself because it's huge. This is
Oh,
a big deal.
certainly.
And we don't
This
see it.
this
We
is
don't see it on
episode
ourselves.
60, so this is a
This is
milestone.
huge, right? But you don't see it on yourself because a lot of times we downplay our success. Yes, that is success. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you asked me today, I'd be like, I'm not successful. I don't feel successful, but
Hmm,
no,
hmm.
I've written a book. I have degrees out to wazoo. I had a successful corporate career. I've started a company. I got products out here. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
by most people's standards, I would be totally successful. But you ask me, I don't like whatever. I don't,
Mm,
there's so many goals that I have. I'm like, I'm not there yet. I feel like I'm
right.
still here. I'm not here. But yeah, this is success. So my success is different from your success. That's huge. You should celebrate yourself because this
Oh,
is huge.
certainly.
60 episodes. 60?
60.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
because I was researching it and I saw that supposedly like 80% of like all podcasts like fall after episode 20.
They
Like
do.
they fall off after episode 20, which
They
means the
do.
ones that are past episode 20, they got potential.
They have
So,
potential, absolutely. And it's about,
yeah,
like you said earlier, finding the right person. You got to be consistent. He
right,
who gets in front of the market wins the game. If you're
right.
not putting out episodes, who's going to see you?
Mm,
Like, you have to put it out there.
mm-hmm,
You have to constantly be promoting. You have to constantly go to events to promote your podcast. You have to constantly be on social media. I mean, you just have to put it out there and somebody will find it. I know podcasts that aren't anywhere near top quality and they're doing very, very well. Very, very well. So just keep at it. This is a nice little production you got going on here. So this is good. So I think this is one of the better ones I've seen. And so just keep going. I think you're going to be fine.
oh, much appreciated. And I have more questions now regarding your book, because we heard that "Why Are They Winning and You Are Not"
Yeah.
was something that you decided to come up with, and you have so many different skills and so many different passions. And so I wanted to know, where did that desire to write come from, and then what is your intended message that you would like for the readers to get from that?
Okay, so my I've been writing this book for 5 years, literally.
Oh
This
wow,
is when we talked about procrastination earlier. This is my
yeah,
procrastination. I've been writing this for 5 years. And sometimes when you get ideas or messages or thoughts, write them down. Like, just
mm,
write them down because sometimes I feel like they're coming from divine creation or divine source. So I always used to just write things down. Anytime I think about something or learn something or go through
mm,
something, I would just write it down. And so finally, year 5, I had most of a book. I had like 8 chapters in a book, literally. And so once I left my corporate job, I said, you know what? I'm going to finish this book. And so that freed me up to finish it. And so 2 weeks later, I had a book. I had a full out book, literally. And so, like I said, if you get the urge or you get thoughts in your head, they're not just thoughts. They are something telling you something. You know what I'm saying? There's
hmm,
some
right,
entity telling you something. And so that's how I came up with this book. And the reason why I came up with the title is because it's from my own journey once again. So my husband and I would always see our friends. They were doing so well. And let me talk about compare. I'll go back to this in a minute. Let me talk about comparison in a minute. So my friends were doing so well, and I'm like, okay, so I just don't feel like I'm doing what I was called to do, or I don't feel like I'm where I need to be. I'm super
right.
competitive. I'm the youngest child, so I'm super competitive. So I'm
Felt
always
that.
feeling like I'm not good enough.
Felt that.
And yeah, yeah, exactly, right. So you're always feeling like you're trying
Youngest
to,
child, yeah.
yeah, you're trying to prove something. And so
Facts.
big facts, big facts. And so, I was like, why are they winning and we're not? Like, what are they
Right.
doing? And so what I did was I studied the people that we know in our friend group that were doing well.
Mm.
They're doing very well, like millionaire well. And so I was like, let me look at what they're doing and what we're not doing. And a lot of things I had to blame myself for. I'm
Mhm.
not when you're not where you want to be, blame yourself. Don't blame everybody else. It's not
Right.
because I'm a woman. Yeah, race does play a part to some extent, but there are a lot of black women that are doing very well. So, so why am I not where I need to be? And I had to
Right.
really do a self evaluation. When you do a self evaluation, it's hard to do, But when you do a
Mhm.
self evaluation, you're like, oh shit, like,
Mhm.
oh no, it's me, because I
Yeah.
started this. You know what I'm saying? I started this podcast and I only did
Yeah.
10 episodes and then I
Yeah. Yeah.
stopped and then it's certain
Got
things that you
sidetracked. Life happened. This and that.
yes, yes.
So,
And so you need to do a self evaluation and figure out what you're not doing in order to get the
mhm.
results that you want. Because one of the things was procrastination for me. I was a big procrastinator. Oh, I got a corporate job. I'm so busy. And then I'm a mom. And then when I get home, I don't feel like doing this. And oh, you can make it all the excuses in the world,
Right.
but when it comes to you being a certain age and then you have all this time to do all these things, and then when you get like 50, 60, and you're like, shit, I just didn't do anything with my life, I didn't do this and
Right.
I didn't do that, you have nobody to blame but yourself, because it's a free country. You can do whatever you want in this country. You can make
Mhm.
whatever kind of living. Yes, there are constraints, but still you can pretty much do what you want. And
Pretty
so
much.
if you didn't live the life that you wanted to live, there's a reason for that. You got to blame yourself. And so
Mhm.
that's why I wrote the book, because I want it to be real. I want it to be raw. Yeah, they are in a position because they did the work and you're not doing the work. And that's I was talking to myself when when I wrote this too. I was talking a lot to myself when I wrote this. Sometimes it's a lot of self-talk, It's like, okay, I'm talking to other people, but yeah, I'm talking to myself. So, yeah.
I was gonna ask you, do you feel like when you do those kind of conversations, or when you're writing and you're portraying, like you're writing
Yes.
to your number one character, or your character
Ye-
number one, your client number one, or client zero, which is
Yes.
self. So like when you write to self, like what would be something that you would that would convince me, had I been able to like read it in a moment of despair, or in a moment when I'm lacking accountability and I'm just pointing the finger at everyone else, like you're the reason why I don't wake up early to like drink healthy
Yep.
juices, or
Yep.
go to the gym or drink water. Like you're the reason when it's like I'm not setting the alarm the night before, or like
Uh-huh.
I'm not like having a sleeping schedule where like my body starts to wind down, so I
Right.
can prepare myself to be successful for the next
Right.
day. And
Right.
so like when you write, like you're focusing like, okay, I gotta convince myself first, because if I can't convince me, how can I
How can
convince
I
the
convince
next?
anybody else, right? Like, how can I
Mm,
convince anybody else? And I know, and I always think there's somebody else struggling with the same things I'm struggling with. Like,
right,
people get so in their own world because they think they're the only ones going through certain things. They're like, I'm the
right,
only one who's experiencing this, and I'm the only one that's going through this. And I'm like, no, there is a billion people on this planet, and they are all 90% of them are all, because there's only 1% at the top. So,
right,
well, that's what success looks like to me, right?
right,
So there's only 1% at the top, right? You got to define
right,
success for yourself,
right, right,
but
right.
there's only 1% at the top. So
Facts.
if a billion people want to be successful and there's only 1% at the top, then what are we doing? What are we
Right.
doing, people? What are we doing? So you really have to. Oh, my dog just came in. Sorry, he distracted me. I'm sorry. But yeah, you really have to figure out what it is you want, and, go after it. And if you don't, like, I always tell myself, I'm like, I would rather live with regret if I tried something and it failed than for me to be 80 years old and be like, damn, I didn't do that. Or God, I wish I would do that. Or man, I wish I would have, shoulda, woulda, coulda. I just don't want to live with that regret. And so, if I fail, I don't look at anything as a failure. Nothing is a failure in life. You
No.
live and you learn. And what does Edison say? I think Edison had like different inventions, and he had oh, I can't remember what he said. It wasn't failure though. He turned the failures into positive. So he was like, no, these were all things that just didn't work, and they weren't failures; they just didn't work. So but until he came up with that one invention, or those inventions that did work, or they did succeed. So I mean, I don't look at anything as a failure. No,
Yeah, I think the Edison quote was that um, I didn't fail 1,000 times. I just discovered 1,000 ways that allowed
that's
me to
it. That is
carry
it.
on.
Yeah. See, you
But
knew what I was
go,
talking about.
yes, yes. But going back to what you were saying about the failure part, I
Yeah.
also like. I think a lot of people are so scared of failing that they would rather live a life of certainty based
Oh,
upon their moral convictions, i.e., meaning like if they want to, let's say, become a stand-up comedian, but
yes.
they're always afraid of like people joking on them, and
Yep.
they would rather just stay the life of, a 9 to 5er, and they're content with that, even if at the age of like 80 years old,
Yep.
when they're at the next family gathering and they're telling jokes and like just ripping it apart, and they're getting, the kids and grandkids are like, "Grandpa, you should have been a comedian." And like, I thought about that,
I
but
know.
like I never actually did it. And like, dude, you're good. Like you could have made it. Like, why
I,
didn't you? Like, I was too scared. And then like,
right.
and then at that time, like for me, at least for me, when I think about it, like it just sounds like, man, that's kind of whack. Like you couldn't even try. Like even
Yeah.
for effort, like at least if you went up there and then you failed, like even if you pissed your pants or like you had
Yeah.
stage, like you tried, you went to the battle, you went into the gladiator arena,
You went
and you
in.
put on the armor,
You
but you were
did it.
just you were too shook, and you recognize like this is not for me. But like to not even like go up there to even know,
Yeah.
like you have no idea how good you are, just like
Yeah.
with your business idea, you have no idea. Like you might have first thought like, oh, why would I make coffee? Like I'm gonna be competing with like all these other like Starbucks and Dunkin', and like I'm gonna
Exactly.
be competing with
Exactly.
like the store brands and like this and that, and like,
Yep.
and then why start and why this, and like I'm behind, and then now I
Yep.
gotta put in money to research and development and to
Yep.
marketing, and
Yep.
this and that, and there's no guaranteed sales, and there's no
All of the
guaranteed this,
above.
and I gotta like do this on the leap of faith.
Yeah. All of
Like
the above.
what? So like I see that as like so positive, because then it's like the next person is thinking like, it's too much to ask, I'm not gonna do it. But then the
Yep.
person that pays the price and pays the like, yeah, this is what it costs me to believe in myself so much that I'm willing to almost like not have anything at all if it means
Yep.
that I can have the chance to have a much better opportunity for that freedom.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, I'm
Totally
looking at
work.
that like, yeah, that's an amazing way to look at life.
Totally work. I didn't start out like this now. Like it took me years to get here. I didn't start out like this. Let me remind you of that. It took me years to get here, but I feel like fear has robbed so many people of their dreams and their
Mm,
goals. And people don't make it easy. Like if you get up there and you didn't do well, they're gonna criticize you, and that the shame and the guilt and just the meanness, the mean nature of people, it doesn't help. You know what I'm saying? Because
right,
people just talk bad about you if they feel like, oh, he failed, oh my, his business failed, or oh, he did a bad stand up that night. It's like if people were more supportive, then people would feel empowered to go out there and pursue those things and be less afraid. But they're always afraid of what people are going to say, and it's like you got to get out of that. Like that is just, oh my gosh, like who cares? Who cares what everybody says? Who cares if they're not paying my bills, if they don't live in my household, if they're not,
facts,
babysitting my kids? I don't care. Like I really don't care what you have to say if I fail or if I succeed or whatever, because I mean, we put too much emphasis on what other people think, and I think that's part of the fear. We don't want to hear what our neighbor is going to say about us if we don't, do X, Y, and Z right, or we don't want to hear with our family. I told you so. Your mom's
right.
going to be like, "I told you so. You should have did that."
Hmm.
So yeah, I just the fear thing. Oh man, it's you have to be in your head, and you have to do those affirmations, and you have to talk to yourself every single day. Say, you know what? I don't fear anything. I'm going to get up. I'm going to do what I need to do. And I'm going to remember my goal. And I'm going to keep pushing forward regardless of what happens. Regardless of what happens today, tomorrow, I'm going to keep pushing forward to my goals. You have
Oh
to.
no, certainly, certainly. And now I'm more intrigued to ask, how do you know when you're gonna be pushing through a challenge, and instead when you're gonna be pivoting into a new strategy?
You always have to stay up to date and stay alert on the times. So if a company comes out and they are smashing it and they added another mushroom to their coffee and they are just smashing it and our sales are declining, then I need to look and pivot and be like, okay, what do we need to do? We need to come up with a new marketing strategy. We need to come up with a new, strategy to add more mushroom, whatever that is. You
Hmm.
always, because if you don't, you're going to be a relic. Like Blockbuster didn't, they didn't move with the times. You remember Blockbuster?
Right.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
You too young
Yeah.
for that.
No, I was there. We were getting movies every weekend. I was there. We were there when it switched over to like like rent a CD or something like that, and it's like,
A
what
red
happened to
box,
yes,
red box.
Redbox, yes,
And then
Redbox,
who came and took all of them out? Remember who came and took all of them out?
Netflix,
Netflix killed them, right?
yeah,
Blockbuster
wiped the
didn't want to
floor.
change their strategy. They thought that the video thing was going to be around for years. They didn't want to pivot and change the strategy. And so Netflix came along. They thought it was a stupid idea.
They could have
And
bought him out.
Netflix killed their business, just
Hmm.
crushed their business. So you have to be ahead of trends and you really have to be paying attention to what's going on. So if I see the next big thing is some other kind of mushroom product, then we're going to be trending towards that. We're going to be looking towards that because if you're not, you're going to die. You're going to die on the vine. Easy as that. You are going to die. So when you're in business, that's one thing I would caution people. Always stay up to date on trends, marketing. Social media is a huge marketer now. Like a lot of businesses weren't going on the social media. The influencers, have you seen the influencers? And they're making a lot of money doing it, like advertising these products on social media. Have you seen that? You've seen that, right?
Hmm.
That's the big thing, the influencers to market products. And so now a lot of these companies are jumping on that bandwagon. So you have to be up to date because if you're not, you're going to get left behind. You're going to get left behind every single time.
Yeah, certainly. Nowadays, I think it's like I was looking at some sort of a report that was showing like the differences, like when businesses go through standard advertising methods
Yep.
versus like these newer trends, like using like TikTok or just
Yep.
paying directly to their influencers and being like, "Hey, I'll give you $500 if you just post this for 24 hours on
Yep.
your story or
Yep.
on your gram or on your reels or on your
Yep.
TikTok if you got like 2 million followers." Like, because most of those individuals, you can't really charge money for the fans, but like the brands
Yep.
that have something to value with their audience that they can see, hey, my brand is ABC, and then your brand is ABC. We line up, so
Yep.
I give you X, Y, and Z compensation.
Yep.
You give me X, Y, and Z exposure to the audience, and
They
that's
are
what we're
killing.
trying to get into this audience. And
Yep.
you're just trying to pay bills with the the,
Absolutely.
the following that you made. It's a win-win situation.
They're killing it. Like when I say they're killing it, I know people that make like thousands of dollars a day, and there's some that make millions. Like they're killing it advertising these products. So that is the direction as far as marketing is going because it's going all to influencers, all of it, all of it. If a company has marketing dollars, they're throwing it towards the influencers, the TikToks, the Instagrams, the Facebooks, all of that.
And now, if you have the opportunity to give yourself a piece of advice, if you had only 30 seconds and you were talking to 18-year-old version of yourself and you only had 30 seconds, what kind of advice would you give that you would want your younger self to listen to have what you would define a better chance at having the success that you're looking for?
Stay true to yourself. Network the hell out of every opportunity you get because the best deals are made with the people that have a relationship with you. So
Hmm.
networking is your friend. Network, always keep those contacts, always follow up, and don't be afraid to start over. Never be afraid to start over. Never be afraid to go after what you want. Never be afraid to start over. But always be ethical and have integrity.
Hmm.
Always be
Deep.
ethical. Yeah.
And for those that may have just joined in, one more time, let them know where they can go to either support you with the book, support with the coffee, and everything that you're doing, where they can support you if they really like everything that you are providing. Let them know where they can go and get some of those products.
Well, I am on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. So it's the Real Cat of Atlanta on Instagram, and on Facebook, it's just Cat Sterling. And our products can be found at www.nuspira.com, Nuspira.com. And you can get my book, Why They Are Winning and You Are Not, on Amazon.
Boom. Guys, that was such a powerful conversation that we have with Kat Sterling. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And if you truly found something of value, make sure to share it with somebody that you think would also benefit from this, because we saw from her insights on how building a successful business can be to overcoming mental blocks that will hold us back, as well as how she provided those points of views in her book. So make sure that because she showed all of this, that you guys interact with her, especially if you like any of those healthier alternatives to the Monster and to the Red Bull energy drinks. So if you've ever felt unsure about your potential or the steps to take towards your dreams, I hope this episode helped you feeling a little bit more inspired and ready to take action. So thank you for tuning in to A Gamer's Guide to Productivity. Of course, it's your host, Nico Pingan. Until next time, keep pushing forward, stay motivated, and never stop striving for your